The smell of antiseptic and my father's morning medications hit me like a slap as I pushed open his bedroom door. Same routine, different day. 5 years of this. "Morning, Dad," I called out, forcing brightness into my voice that I definitely didn't feel. Moses was already awake, staring at the ceiling with that look he got sometimes, like he was calculating all the ways his life had gone sideways. The accident had taken his legs, but I swear it took pieces of both our souls too. "Trinity," he said, attempting to sit up. "You don't have to." "Yes, I do." I set down the breakfast tray and started arranging his pills. Blue one for blood pressure, white one for pain, the little yellow capsule that kept his mood from completely tanking. "I can't give you back those years, but I can make sure you're protected." Protected from what? He was quiet for so long I thought he'd fallen asleep. Then, "Your mother has plans, big plans, and they don't include you." Before I could ask what he meant, car doors slammed outside. Through the window, I watched a black SUV pull into our driveway. "Oh shit," I muttered. "Language," Dad said automatically, but he was smiling. Brinley burst through the front door like a hurricane in designer clothes, dragging a rolling suitcase and trailing her friend Tatum behind her. "I'm home," she announced to the entire neighborhood. Mum practically flew down the stairs. "Brinley! Oh my God, you look amazing! How was the flight? Are you tired? Hungry?" "I'm perfect, Mum." "Just perfect." Brinley air-kissed both of Mum's cheeks. "Tatum, this is my mother. Mum, this is Tatum Meyer. She has like 3 million followers." Tatum, a blonde carbon copy of my sister, smiled with too many teeth. "Your home is so cute, very authentic." I stayed in the doorway, watching the reunion show. "Trinity!" Brinley finally noticed me. "Oh, wow, you look exactly the same." "Thanks." She pulled me into a hug that felt like a performance. "I've missed you so much. We have so much to catch up on." "I'm sure we do." "Girls, why don't you get settled?" Mum said. "Trinity, help them with their bags." Of course. The maid service continues. As I carried Tatum's suitcase upstairs, I caught pieces of their conversation drifting from the kitchen. "The party's going to be perfect," Mum was saying. "Everyone's coming. The whole neighborhood, Dad's old business partners, even some of the relatives from out of state." "Good," Brinley said. "I want everyone to see how well we're all doing." Speaking of which, we need to discuss the arrangements afterward. What arrangements? Well, with Dad recovering so well, we won't need Trinity as a full-time caregiver anymore. We're thinking of selling the house, using the money to help fund your wellness brand. My blood turned to ice. "That's brilliant, Mom. Trinity can finally get her own life, and I can expand the business. Win-win." "Exactly. She was born to be a caregiver anyway. She'll figure something out." "She always does." I set down the suitcase and gripped the banister to keep from falling. Born to be a caregiver, like it was my destiny to sacrifice everything while they lived their dreams. "What about Trinity's cut?" Tatum asked. Brinley laughed. "Cut? She's been living here rent-free for 5 years. That's payment enough." I made it to my room before the tears started. 5 years of my life, and they saw it as me getting a free ride. My phone buzzed, a text from Simon. "How are you holding up?" I started typing a response, then deleted it, then typed another one, and deleted that too. Finally, I just wrote, "They want to sell the house." His response came immediately, "Over your dead body." If only he knew how right he was. The morning of the party, our house transformed into something I barely recognized. White tablecloths, fancy centerpieces, and enough flowers to stock a funeral home. Mum had hired actual servers, which meant I got to watch strangers do the hosting while I pushed Dad's wheelchair around like hired help. "Trinity, you look lovely," said Mrs. Carter from next door, though her eyes said otherwise. I'd managed to find a decent dress in the back of my closet, but next to Brinley's designer everything, I looked like the help. "Thank you, Mrs. Carter. It's so wonderful what you've done for your father. Such a sacrifice." There was that word again. Sacrifice. Like I'd chosen this. The backyard filled up fast. Dad's old business partners, distant relatives I hadn't seen in years, neighbours who'd never bothered to check on us during the worst of it. Everyone wanted to celebrate Moses Hanson's miraculous recovery. "Trinity!" Uncle Robert grabbed me in a bear hug. "Look at you, kiddo, still taking care of everyone I see." Something like that. "Your sister's doing amazing things. We saw her on that morning show last week. Very impressive." Of course they had. Brinley held court by the pool, surrounded by admirers, while Tatum filmed everything for her social media. She wore a flowing white dress that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget, and she glowed like she was the guest of honor. "She's launching a wellness empire," I heard someone say, "all about authentic living and family values." I nearly choked on my water. "Trinity!" Simon appeared at my elbow with 2 glasses of wine. "You look like you need this." "I need something stronger." "How are you holding up?" "Ask me in a few hours." Before he could respond, Mum clinked a knife against her glass. The crowd quieted. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate Moses's incredible recovery," she began. "This past year has been challenging for our family, but it's also shown us what really matters." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. "We've learned so much about resilience, about supporting each other, about the power of love." Her voice caught slightly. "And we've been blessed to have Trinity here, taking such wonderful care of her father." Polite applause. I wanted to disappear. But now it's time for new chapters, new adventures. Moses is doing so well, and we're excited about what the future holds. She gestured to someone behind me. A server approached with a silver tray holding an envelope. "Trinity, honey, come here." Every eye in the yard focused on me as I walked over. The envelope felt heavy in my hands. "Open it," Mum said, beaming. Inside was a check for $5,000 and a card that read, "Thank you for your service to our family. With love and gratitude." Service. Like I was the fucking cleaning lady. "This is our way of saying thank you," Mum announced to the crowd. "Trinity has been such a devoted daughter, and now she can take some time to figure out what she wants to do next." More applause. Someone actually said, "Oh." "Speech," someone called out. "Oh, I don't think," I started. "Come on, Trinity," Brinley said, suddenly appearing beside me. "Say something." I looked at the check, then at the crowd of expectant faces. $5,000 for 5 years of my life. "Thank you," I managed. "This is unexpected." "Trinity's always been the practical one," Brinley said, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. "While I was off chasing dreams, she was here being the rock of our family." The crowd ate it up. "Actually," Brinley continued, "I have an announcement of my own." She pulled out her phone and showed everyone a sleek website. "I'm officially launching Authentic Living with Brinley. It's a wellness brand focused on finding your true purpose and living authentically." The tagline made my stomach drop. "Discover your inner healer." "The whole concept came from watching my family navigate this difficult time," she said. "Seeing how caregiving can be a calling, how service to others feeds the soul." She was selling my life story as her brand inspiration. "We're already in talks with several major retailers, and I'll be doing a book tour next year." The crowd erupted in congratulations. People rushed to take photos with her, to get her contact information, to be part of her success story. I stood there, holding my $5,000 consolation prize while my sister monetized my misery. "Trinity!" Dad's voice was quiet, but I heard him over the noise. "We've been through this." "My name is Trinity Hanson, and I used to be somebody. 5 years ago, I was a neurology student with a 4.2 GPA and dreams of saving lives in an operating room. Now I'm a professional pill counter and diaper changer, watching my father's body slowly betray him while my own life disappears one day at a time. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd wanted to heal brains, and instead I was losing my mind. My phone buzzed with a video call. Brinley's face filled the screen, all perfect teeth and golden tan, palm trees swaying behind her. "Trinity! Oh my God, you look tired. Are you sleeping enough?" I glanced at my reflection in the phone screen. Dark circles, unwashed hair pulled back in yesterday's ponytail, the same grey t-shirt I'd been wearing for 3 days. He'd wheeled himself closer. "Did you read the document?" I nodded. "Good." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small folder. "Then you'll want to see this too." Simon appeared at my other side. "You have more power than you think," he said quietly. "Use it." The crowd was still buzzing about Brinley's announcement when Mom called for attention again. Before we eat, Moses wanted to say a few words. Dad wheeled himself to the centre of the group. "Thank you all for coming. This recovery has been educational." He looked directly at me. "Trinity, would you like to add anything?" The crowd turned to me expectantly. Brinley smiled that perfect smile, probably expecting more gratitude. I looked at the folder in Dad's hands, then at the cheque in mine. "Actually," I said, "I do have something to say." I walked to the centre of the group, every face turned toward me. The silence felt heavy, expectant. 5 years ago, I was in my final year of medical school, I began. I had a 4.0 GPA, research opportunities, my whole future mapped out. A few people nodded politely. They'd heard this story before. Then Dad had his accident and everything changed. I dropped out to take care of him, full-time, 24/7. "Trinity," Mum said quietly, "maybe we should—" "Let me finish." My voice was steadier than I felt. "I want everyone to understand what that really meant." I looked around the crowd. These people had watched from the sidelines while I disappeared. It meant learning to change adult diapers at 3 a.m. It meant sleeping on a cot in the hallway so I could hear if he needed help. It meant watching my classmates graduate, get residencies, start their careers, while I became a professional caregiver. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't the heartwarming speech they'd expected. "But that's okay," I continued. "Family comes first, right? That's what everyone kept telling me. You're so strong, Trinity. You're so selfless. Your parents must be so proud." Brinley's smile was starting to look forced. And they were proud, so proud that they never once asked if I wanted my life back, so proud that they made plans for my future without consulting me. "Trinity, what are you doing?" Mom hissed. "I'm being authentic, Mom. Isn't that what we're celebrating today?" I turned to address the crowd again. "See, while I was here playing nurse, my sister was building her brand, her wellness empire, all about authentic living and finding your purpose." "Trinity," Brinley started, "and the beautiful thing is, she found her inspiration right here at home. Watching me sacrifice everything for family. It's such a powerful story, isn't it?" The crowd was dead silent now. Phones were coming out, but not for selfies. "But here's the thing about authentic living," I said, my voice getting stronger. "It requires actual authenticity." I pulled out my phone and opened my voicemail app. "Brinley left me a message last week. I think you should all hear it." "Trinity, don't you dare!" Brinley lunged forward, but Simon stepped between us. I hit play. Brinley's voice filled the yard, crystal clear. "God, Trinity, I can't believe you're still playing nursemaid. Like, I get that Dad's sick, but come on, you're 28. Get a life, and stop guilting me about not visiting. Some of us have actual careers to build. I'm not going to waste my 20s wiping his ass like you did. You chose this pathetic life, so own it." The silence that followed was deafening. Brinley's face had gone white. That was taken out of context. "What context makes that okay?" Uncle Robert asked. "I was having a bad day," Brinley stammered. "I didn't mean—" "You meant every word," I said. "Just like you meant it when you told Mum that selling the house was brilliant because I was born to be a caregiver." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Mum looked like she might faint. "Trinity, stop this," Mum said. "You're embarrassing the family." "I'm embarrassing the family?" I laughed, and it came out harsher than I intended. "Mum, you just handed me a $5,000 check as payment for 5 years of my life. Brinley's about to make millions selling my story as inspiration porn. But I'm the embarrassment." "That's not what Mum started. "It's exactly what you did." I looked around the crowd. "You want to know about authentic living? Here's some authenticity for you." I held up Dad's folder. While you were all planning my future as the family servant, Dad was planning something else. Dad wheeled himself closer. "Trinity, you don't have to—" "Yes, I do." I opened the folder. 6 months ago, Moses Hanson transferred power of attorney to me, complete financial control, the house, the investments, all of it. The crowd erupted in whispers. "What?" Mum shrieked. "Moses, what did you do?" "I protected my daughter," Dad said quietly, "the one who actually stayed." Brinley was shaking her head. "This is insane. You can't just—" "I can, and I did." I pulled out another document. "I also used that authority to finish my degree online. Graduated last month, actually. Summa cum laude." Simon was grinning now. Several people in the crowd looked impressed. "But wait, there's more," I said, channeling every infomercial I'd ever seen. "I also started a consulting firm. Turns out, 5 years of managing medical care, insurance claims, and family finances makes you pretty good at problem solving." "Trinity," Mum said weakly, "what are you saying?" "I'm saying the house isn't for sale, Mum. I'm saying Brinley's wellness brand just lost its funding source. I'm saying I'm done being the family doormat." Brinley finally found her voice. "You can't do this to me. I have contracts, investors." "You have a brand built on lies," I said. "Good luck explaining that to your followers." The crowd was buzzing now, phones definitely recording. This was going to be all over social media within the hour. "You're destroying this family," Mum said, tears streaming down her face. "No, Mum, I'm saving myself." I looked around at all the shocked faces, then back at my sister. "Any other announcements, Brinley? Or are we ready for dinner?" The silence stretched like a rubber band about to snap. Brinley stood frozen, her perfect composure cracking like old paint. "You're bluffing," she said finally. "Dad wouldn't do that. He wouldn't cut us out." "He didn't cut you out, Brinley. You cut yourself out 5 years ago." "This is ridiculous." She turned to the crowd, trying to salvage something. "My sister's having some kind of breakdown. The stress of caregiving, you know how it is." "Actually," interrupted Alex Carter, our neighbour, "I think we'd all like to hear more about this consulting firm." Several people nodded. The tide was turning, and Brinley could feel it. "Trinity," Mum said, her voice shaking, "please don't do this. We're family." "Are we?" I asked. "Because family doesn't plan to sell the house out from under the daughter who sacrificed everything. Family doesn't hand out $5,000 checks like severance pay." "We were trying to help you move on," Mum protested, "by kicking me out, by giving you freedom." "Freedom?" I laughed. "Mum, you were giving me freedom the same way a company gives you freedom when they fire you." Uncle Robert stepped forward. "Moses, is this true?" Meanwhile, my sister looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine shoot. "I'm fine, Brinley. Just busy." "Busy with what? It's not like Dad's going anywhere." She laughed at her own joke, then caught herself. "I mean, you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm in Bali right now, and the energy here is just incredible. I'm doing a whole series on finding your authentic self through travel. My followers are eating it up. 2 million followers who hung on her every word about self-discovery and living your best life. If they only knew she'd discovered herself by abandoning her family when things got hard. That's great, I said, helping Dad with his water cup. Really inspiring. I know, right? Oh, and I've been thinking about you so much lately. Like, what you're doing is so important. Did you really sign everything over to Trinity? Dad looked older than his 59 years, but his voice was steady. Every word. Why? Aunt Linda asked. Because she earned it. Dad's eyes found mine. Because she stayed when everyone else left. Because she gave up her dreams so I could keep mine. That's not fair, Brinley said, her voice rising. I had opportunities. I couldn't just throw away my career. What career? I asked. Taking selfies? I'm an influencer. I have millions of followers. You have millions of people watching you pretend to be someone you're not. Tatum, who'd been filming everything, finally spoke up. Maybe we should go inside. No, Brinley snapped. I'm not hiding. Trinity thinks she's so smart, but she doesn't understand how the real world works. Enlighten me. You think you can just destroy my brand and walk away? I have contracts, partnerships, investors who've put real money into this. Based on what? Your inspiring family story? Based on my platform, my reach, my influence? Built on lies. It's not lies, it's storytelling, it's marketing. The crowd was watching like it was a tennis match. Phones were definitely recording now. Brinley, I said quietly, you told 2 million people that you learned about authentic living from watching your family support each other through crisis. But you weren't here for the crisis. I was building something. You were running away. I was following my dreams. On my back. She stared at me, and for a moment I saw something real in her eyes. Not the influencer, not the golden child, but my little sister who used to be afraid of thunderstorms. Then it was gone. Fine, she said. You want to play hardball? Let's play. She pulled out her phone and opened her camera app. Everyone, I want you to see what's really happening here. She turned the camera on herself, slipping back into influencer mode. My sister is having a mental breakdown at our father's recovery party. She's making wild accusations, trying to destroy our family. Brinley, stop, Dad said. No, Dad, she wants authenticity. Here's authenticity. She turned the camera toward me. This is what happens when someone can't handle their responsibilities, when they blame everyone else for their choices. I grabbed her phone. Hey, she shrieked. You want to live stream this? I asked. Fine, let's give your followers the whole story. I turned the camera on myself. Hi everyone, I'm Trinity, Brinley's sister, the one she's been using as inspiration for her wellness brand. Give me my phone! Brinley lunged for it, but Simon caught her arm. Let her finish, he said. I kept recording. For 5 years I've been my father's full-time caregiver. I gave up medical school, my career, my entire life. And my sister. She's been in Bali, telling you all about the power of family sacrifice. The viewer count was climbing rapidly. Comments were flooding in. But here's the thing about sacrifice, I continued. It only means something if it's acknowledged, if it's respected, if the people you're sacrificing for actually give a damn. Trinity, please, Mom begged. My parents just tried to sell our house to fund Brinley's business. They handed me a $5,000 check as a thank you for 5 years of my life. $5,000. The comments were going crazy now. I could see words like disgusting and family from hell scrolling by. So here's my authentic moment, I said to the camera. I'm done. I'm done being the family doormat. I'm done watching my sister profit off my pain. I'm done pretending this is normal. I ended the recording and tossed the phone back to Brinley. There's your content, I said. Hope it goes viral. Brinley stared at her phone screen, watching the view count explode. You just destroyed everything, she whispered. No, I said. I just told the truth. Brinley's phone kept buzzing with notifications. The live stream had ended, but the damage was spreading like wildfire across social media. 30,000 shares already, someone in the crowd said, looking at their own phone. This is everywhere. Turn it off, Brinley snapped at Tatum. Delete everything. I can't delete what other people recorded, Tatum said quietly. Brinley, maybe we should... Should what? Run away like cowards? You've been running for 5 years, I said. Why stop now? Brinley's face twisted with rage. You think you're so clever, don't you? You think you've won? I think I've finally told the truth. Truth? She laughed, but it sounded broken. You want truth? Fine, here's some truth for you. She turned to address the crowd, her voice getting louder and more desperate. My sister is a manipulative, bitter woman who's been playing the victim for years. She chose to drop out of school. She chose to stay here and play nurse. Nobody forced her. Brinley, Dad started. No, Dad, let me finish. She's been poisoning you against me, making you think I abandoned the family. But I was building something. I was creating opportunities for all of us. Opportunities for yourself, Uncle Robert said. For everyone. My brand was going to support this whole family. The house sale was going to fund something bigger, something that would benefit everyone. Except me, I said. You would have figured something out. You always do. The crowd was getting restless. People were starting to leave, muttering to each other as they headed for the gate. Wait, Brinley called after them. Don't go. This is just a family disagreement. It doesn't change anything about my brand, my message. Your message is bullshit, said Mrs. Carter, our usually polite neighbour. I've been watching you ignore your family for years, while your sister worked herself to death. That's not... It is exactly that. Mrs. Carter looked at me. Trinity, honey, I'm sorry we didn't do more to help. We all just assumed... That I was fine with it, I finished. That you chose it, she said quietly. More people were leaving now. The party was disintegrating in real time. This is insane, Brinley said, panic creeping into her voice. You're all acting like I'm some kind of monster. Aren't you? Asked Alex Carter. I'm a businesswoman. I saw an opportunity and I took it. That's what successful people do. You saw your sister suffering and turned it into content, Simon said. That's what sociopaths do. How dare you? How dare I what? Tell the truth. Isn't that your brand? Authentic living? Brinley's phone rang. She glanced at it and her face went white. It's my agent, she said. Better answer it, I said. Sounds important. She walked a few steps away, but we could all hear her side of the conversation. What do you mean pulling out? No, this is just a misunderstanding. I can explain everything. Her voice got higher and more desperate. Please, just give me a chance to fix this. The book deal, but we already signed. What about the retailer partnerships? She hung up and stared at her phone like it had betrayed her. Brinley, Tatum asked quietly. They're all pulling out, Brinley said. The book deal, the partnerships, everything. They're saying my brand is toxic now. Maybe you should have thought about that before you built your empire on lies, I said. It wasn't lies. It was exploitation, Dad said quietly. Taking care of Dad, sacrificing everything. It's like, wow, I could never be that selfless. Selfless? That's what everyone called it. What a pretty word for having your entire future stolen. Brinley, I need to... Wait, let me just say this. You're like the ultimate example of putting family first. I'm actually thinking of doing a post about it. My sister, the unsung hero. It would be so powerful. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. Instead, I smiled. Sounds amazing. I have to go. After she hung up, Dad was quiet for a long moment. She means well, he said finally. Does she? He didn't answer, which was answer enough. The doorbell rang around noon. I opened it to find Simon McGregor standing there with coffee and that concerned look he'd been wearing a lot lately. And I let it happen. Dad, no, Brinley said, rushing to his wheelchair. You didn't do anything wrong. This is all Trinity's fault. She's jealous. She's bitter. She's right, Dad said, about all of it. The remaining guests were openly staring now. This was better than reality TV. I let you turn your sister's sacrifice into your success story, Dad continued. I let your mother plan to sell the house without consulting the daughter who saved it. I let you both treat Trinity like hired help instead of family. Moses, Mum said weakly, don't say things you'll regret. I regret plenty, Heidi, but not this. He looked at me. Trinity, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it took me so long to do the right thing. Dad, no, let me finish. You gave up everything for me. Your education, your career, your 20s. And what did we give you in return? A $5,000 check and a plan to kick you out. Brinley was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. This isn't fair. I worked so hard. You worked hard at being fake, I said, and now everyone knows it. I can fix this, she said desperately. I can make a comeback. People love a redemption story. Brinley, Tatum said gently, maybe it's time to stop. Stop what? Stop pretending. Stop performing. Stop trying to turn everything into content. Brinley looked around at the remaining crowd, at her phone still buzzing with notifications, at the ruins of her carefully constructed life. I don't know how to stop, she whispered. For the first time in 5 years, my sister looked human. Then learn, I said. Start with the truth. Brinley wiped her eyes, smearing mascara across her cheek. For a moment, she looked like the little sister I remembered, vulnerable, lost, human. Then her phone buzzed again, and I watched her face harden. You know what? She said, her voice getting stronger. Fine, you want the truth? Here's the truth. She stood up straighter, addressing the remaining crowd like she was back on camera. Trinity isn't the saint you all think she is. She's been manipulating Dad for years, isolating him from the rest of us. Brinley, stop, Dad said. No, I won't stop. She's been playing the martyr while secretly plotting to steal everything. She probably forged those documents. I have copies, Dad said firmly, signed in front of witnesses, including my lawyer. Then she manipulated you into signing them. She's been poisoning you against your own family. The only poison in this family is you, Simon said. Brinley whirled on him. Oh, and here's Trinity's little boyfriend right on cue. How convenient that you showed up just in time to support her takeover. I've been trying to get Trinity to stand up for herself for months, Simon said. She's been protecting you all this whole time. Protecting us? She's been sabotaging us. How? I asked. By taking care of Dad, by managing his medications, his appointments, his insurance claims, by keeping this house running while you were off playing influencer. By making us look bad, by making everyone think we abandoned Dad. You did abandon Dad. I was building a career. You were building a lie. The crowd was thinning out rapidly now. People were uncomfortable, embarrassed to be witnessing this family meltdown. But a few stayed, phones still recording. This is going to be everywhere, Tatum said quietly. Brinley, we need to do damage control. There is no damage control, I said. The truth is out now. The truth according to you, Brinley snapped, but you're not the only one with stories to tell. She pulled out her phone again, opening her camera app. Everyone wants authenticity? Fine. Let me tell you about my authentic experience with my sister. Brinley, don't, Mum pleaded. She's been emotionally blackmailing this family for years, making us all feel guilty for having lives outside this house. She chose to drop out of school, but she's been making us pay for it ever since. That's not true, Dad said. Isn't it? She's been the perfect victim, hasn't she? Poor Trinity, sacrificing everything. But what about my sacrifices? What about the guilt I've carried for 5 years? What guilt? I asked. The guilt of being successful while you were stuck here. The guilt of having opportunities while you were changing diapers. Do you think that was easy for me? Easier than changing the diapers? Everything's a joke to you now, isn't it? Now that you've destroyed my life. I didn't destroy your life, Brinley. I just stopped protecting it. She stared at me, and I saw something shift in her expression. The desperation was turning into something uglier. You want to know what I really think? She said. I think you're glad Dad got hurt. I think you're glad you had an excuse to give up on your dreams. The remaining crowd gasped. Dad's face went white. Brinley, he said quietly, that's enough. No, it's not enough. She's been playing the victim for so long, she's forgotten how to be anything else. She didn't stay here out of love. She stayed here out of fear. Fear of what? Fear of failing. Fear of finding out you weren't as smart as everyone thought. Fear of competing in the real world. You're wrong, Simon said. Am I? Then why didn't she finish school online sooner? Why didn't she hire help for Dad? Why didn't she build a life outside this house? Because she was too busy cleaning up your messes, I said. What messes? The credit card bills you racked up and sent here. The student loans you defaulted on. The car payments you missed. Should I go on? Brinley's face went red. That's private. Private? You made my life public content for your brand. Fair's fair. Those were temporary setbacks. Temporary? Brinley, I've been covering your debts for 3 years. The crowd was riveted now. This was better than any reality show. You had no right. I had power of attorney. I had every right. You manipulated Dad into giving you that power. I earned it, Dad said, his voice stronger than I'd heard it in years. Trinity earned every bit of authority I gave her. By guilting you. By staying, Dad said simply, by being here when no one else was. Brinley looked around at the remaining faces, all of them staring at her with a mixture of pity and disgust. This isn't over, she said to me. I'll fight this. I'll prove you manipulated him. With what money? I asked. Your brand is dead, your partnerships are gone, and your debts are about to catch up with you. I'll find a way. No, I said quietly. You'll find a job, a real job, like the rest of us. Brinley's phone rang again. She looked at it and her face crumpled. It's my landlord, she whispered. Better answer it, I said. Sounds important. Brinley answered the phone with shaking hands. We could all hear her landlord's voice through the speaker. Something about missed rent payments and eviction notices. I can explain, she said, walking away from the crowd. It's just a temporary cash flow issue. The remaining guests finally started to disperse, muttering their goodbyes and shooting sympathetic looks my way. The party was officially over. Trinity, Mum said, once we were alone with just family, what happens now? Now you figure out how to be a real family, I said. Or you don't. But the house stays in the family, my family, the people who actually live here and take care of it. Where are we supposed to go? I pulled out another folder from Dad's collection. There's a nice 2-bedroom condo downtown, already purchased. Intervention time, he said, pushing past me into the kitchen. Simon had been my study partner back in med school before everything went to hell. Now he was a successful neurologist, living the life I was supposed to have. He'd been trying to save me for months. I brought the good stuff, he said, setting down 2 cups from the fancy coffee place downtown. And before you say you're too busy, your dad's napping and we both know it. Simon, when's the last time you left this house for something that wasn't a medical emergency or grocery shopping? I couldn't remember. I'm needed here. You're wasting away here. He sat down across from me. Trinity, you had a 4.0 GPA. You were going to change the world. You can live there rent-free as long as you need to. Mum stared at the papers. You bought us a place? Dad and I bought it. We're not monsters, Mum. We're just not doormats anymore. I don't understand, she said weakly. You don't have to understand. You just have to accept it. Brinley came back, her face streaked with tears. I have to be out of my apartment by Friday. There's a pull-out couch at the condo, I said, if you want it. Why would you help me after what I said? Because despite everything, you're still my sister. But the free ride is over, Brinley. No more credit cards, no more bailouts, no more using family tragedy as content. I don't know how to do anything else. Then learn, get a real job, start over. Be honest for once in your life. Tatum, who'd been quietly packing up her camera equipment, approached us. Brinley, I'm sorry, but I can't be associated with this anymore. My own brand. I get it, Brinley said quietly. Everyone's jumping ship. Maybe that's what you need, I said, to figure out who you are when nobody's watching. Simon appeared at my side. The caterers are asking about clean-up. Tell them to leave everything, I said. I'll handle it tomorrow. Actually, Dad said, I think I'd like to help with that. Dad, you don't have to. I want to. I've been sitting on the sidelines for too long. Mum was still staring at the condo papers. Trinity, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but it's a start, I said. I was so focused on Brinley's success, I forgot about your sacrifices. You didn't forget, Mum. You just decided they didn't matter. She flinched but didn't argue. The condo's available whenever you're ready, I continued. Take your time packing, but understand, this is my house now, my rules. What about Dad's care? I'll handle it, like I always have. But your consulting business is flexible. I work from home, set my own hours. Turns out, managing a family crisis for 5 years gives you excellent project management skills. Simon grinned. She's already landed 3 major clients. How? Brinley asked. Referrals from Dad's old business contacts. Turns out people respect competence over Instagram followers. Dad wheeled himself closer to me. Trinity, I need to say something. Dad, no, let me finish. I'm proud of you, not just for taking care of me, but for taking care of yourself, for fighting back, for not letting us destroy you. You didn't destroy me, you just delayed me. I'm proud of the woman you've become, the woman you always were, but we were too blind to see. Brinley was crying again, but quietly this time. I really screwed up, didn't I? Yeah, I said. You did. Can I try to fix it? That's up to you, but it starts with getting a real job and paying your own bills. I don't even know how to write a resume. Then learn. Google exists. She nodded, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. Trinity? Yeah. I'm sorry for all of it, for leaving, for using your story, for everything. I know. Do you forgive me? I looked at my sister, really looked at her. Without the perfect makeup and designer clothes, she looked young and scared and lost. Ask me again in a year, I said, after you've proven you can change. That's fair. As the sun set over our backyard, still littered with party decorations and abandoned champagne glasses, I felt something I hadn't felt in 5 years. Peace. Not happiness. Not yet. But peace. The kind that comes from finally telling the truth, from finally standing up for yourself, from finally being seen. So what now? Simon asked. Now we clean up the mess, I said, looking around at the chaos. And then we figure out what comes next. Together? I smiled at him, the first real smile I'd felt in years. And together? Dad reached over and squeezed my hand. Thank you, Trinity, for everything. Thank you for finally seeing me. I always saw you, I just forgot to say it. Well, I said, we've got time to make up for that now. And for the first time in 5 years, that felt like enough. Now I'm what? You're disappearing. The words hit harder than they should have, maybe because they were true. My family needs me. Your family is using you. He leaned forward, and you know it. Before I could argue, he stood up. Just think about it, okay? You deserve more than this. After he left, I found myself staring at the mail pile on the kitchen counter. Bills, medical statements, the usual junk. But underneath it all was a thick envelope I hadn't noticed before. Legal letterhead, addressed to me personally. Private Moses Hanson was written in Dad's shaky handwriting across the seal. My hands trembled as I picked it up. Why would Dad have legal documents sent to me in secret? I looked toward his bedroom, then back at the envelope. Whatever was inside, I had a feeling it was about to change everything. I stared at the envelope for what felt like hours before finally tearing it open. The legal jargon made my head spin at first, but then certain phrases jumped out like neon signs. Power of attorney, Trinity Hanson, sole authority over financial decisions. "What the hell?" I whispered. "Trinity, dear, what are you mumbling about?" Mum's voice cut through my shock as she breezed into the kitchen, arms full of party planning supplies. I quickly shoved the papers under a magazine. "Nothing, Mum, just going through the mail." Heidi dumped ribbons and centerpieces onto the counter, her face already wearing that stressed-out expression she got whenever she had to organize anything. "Good, because I need your help. The recovery party is in 3 days and I'm drowning here. Did you pick up Dad's new shirt from the cleaners?" "Yes." "And you confirmed the caterer?" "Yes." "What about the flowers? Please tell me you didn't forget the flowers." I hadn't forgotten anything. I never did. "They'll be delivered Friday morning." "Thank God. I don't know what we'd do without you." She said it like a compliment, but it felt like a chain around my neck. "Oh, and make sure you wear something nice, not one of those awful grey shirts you live in." "Mum, I'm serious, Trinity. Brinley's bringing her friend Tatum, and there will be photos. We need to look like a proper family." A proper family. Right, the kind where one daughter jets around the world while the other scrubs bedpans. After she left, I waited until I heard her upstairs before pulling out the papers again. This time, I read every word. The document was dated 6 months ago. Dad had quietly transferred power of attorney to me, giving me control over his finances, medical decisions, even the house, everything. I found him in his room, pretending to read, but obviously waiting for me. "You read it," he said without looking up. "Dad, what is this?" He set down his book and finally met my eyes. "Insurance? Insurance for what?" "For you." His voice was barely above a whisper. "Trinity, I know what I've cost you. Your degree, your future, your whole damn life.